It's Keith Baxter here. First of all, I want to say thank you for buying the product of either Affiliate Black Book or Affiliate HD. This bonus is going out to both of you. So this video will not be sent out to anybody else. There's a couple reasons why I'm created this bonus, and let me just be flat out and tell you the main reason why. Last week, somebody sent me a link to a new SEO course, and it looked pretty good. I mean, the sales letter was pretty decent, so I said, well, you know what? I've got an extra few minutes. I'll skim through it and see what it's all about. So I picked it up, went through it, and sure enough, it was pretty much a direct clone of a course that I came out with a couple of years ago called the Syndicator. I've since retired the Syndicator, so there's really not much I could do about it. But the process that this guy had was creating small silo sites based on a certain set of criteria, keyword criteria, and then getting some links in. He's missing the boat on a few things though, and I am going to cover that here with you. And you know what? I'm not going to charge you for it or sell it, so it's yours. So let's first of all do a quick recap of the syndicator. And in the screen in front of you right now, you see a line. On this side of the line, you have curation, and on this side of the line, you have page structure in a silo format. When I say silo format, we have our primary keyword here, which is the topic of the overall site. Then we have 3 to 8, let's call it second tier keywords that will are most appropriately to fit under this main keyword. And then again, under each one of these keywords, we have 3 to 8 keywords that are most appropriate to fit under these keywords. So it's a tier structure. Just we have our right here, we would have our primary keyword, we have our secondary keywords, and we have our tertiary keywords. And each one funnels up to the next one. So say we're doing gold investing. Here we may do Regal Assets gold investing, and then here in the third we may have gold investing, gold and silver buyers in Houston, Texas. So you could see we go from specific all the way down to what could be considered long tail or even local in many cases. And then let's just talk about how we're going to be linking out. So we have, again, here's our primary. Actually, let me just clear this. So here we have our primary keyword, and let's just do it with 3 because that's what he chose to do. So we'll just do that instead of 8, which I actually recommend. So the tier structure will work like this. We're going to be creating a line down this way, down this way, down this way, down this way, and down this way. So the big overall area is going to link to each one of the keywords. The secondary keyword is going to link to each of these. The second is going to link, or the first is going to link to the second to the first, and then the first will link all the way back here. And that's how we're going to play this out. So that's the linking structure. Watch this video a couple times if this doesn't make sense to you, but it's very, very simple. So our home page is going to link to these initial 3 pages, and then these 3 pages are going to link to the sub pages underneath them, and then each of the sub pages at the bottom are going to link to each other, except the third one in line is going to link back to the first. So as you can see, it creates a chain effect that is just one heck of a linking program. We're only going to be linking to these particular pages right here because they will feed these, and then of course it's going to feed the overall. This one being generally pretty darn competitive, so it's going to require a little bit of extra work to make this happen. Not a big deal. It will happen over time, but these will rank relatively quickly, especially when I show you the secret sauce. But there's one other element that I want to go over with you first before we jump into this. So one thing that I liked about this guy's course is that, as we created this tier structure, Syndicator 101 type stuff, and then we start linking to it, we're going to know relatively quickly if this is a market worth pursuing. So here is where secret sauce number 1 comes into play, and that's the curation. Okay, so once we know that this is a viable market, then we're going to run over to a company called articlesontap.com, and we're going to hire them to create 1 to 2 curated posts per week for us, and then auto post this. So it's 100% hands off. Do not use machine generated curation by any stretch of the imagination unless you are a writer or have hired a writer that understands the art of storytelling or creating a story within a story, and I'll explain that in just a moment. Then don't just use machines to do this. That's totally inadequate in my opinion. I use articles on tap.com, and I actually use their curation service right now exclusively. They are my outsources for curation. And the reason why I use them is because they understand that curation is not just copying and pasting somebody else's content into your website, is to create your own story that is augmented by trending topics or news that's currently active out there right now. So you would have your own intro paragraph. Then you may have a supporting link, it's a snippet to support that intro paragraph. You would have your main body. Then you might have another snippet that supports this main body. Then you'd have your outro, and then if anywhere in that outro it can be supported by what is currently in the news at that moment, then by all means create that snippet as well. But this is a unique article in and of itself that is simply augmented by current events, anything that's in the news, anything that's trending, and then anything that is on an authority site already. So what we've done up to this point is we've created a silo structure in the pages section of WordPress, and then as it's proven itself out, we then add the curation to the site, which further gives the site not only authority, but brings people back to your site because now you're becoming a legitimate news source in your marketplace. And that's another thing that machines just can't do, is give you the quality content that creating your own articles that's augmented by the stories does for you. And secondarily, it gives you additional keyword fodder that brings more people into your site and thus gives you more opportunity to get them to take actions that you want them to take. Those actions can be list building, can be affiliate promotions, which is primarily what I do on my curation sites. I do some list building, but quite frankly, the big fallacy of list building is, build a list, you'll make $1 million, or whatever the big line is today about list building. The reality is that to work your list, you have to mail daily, and you have to be clever in the way that you mail. There is a very specific formula on how to make that work, and the reality is that most people just don't have it. So stick to affiliate marketing. It's very simple. You put up some banners, you put up some reviews, and boom, you've got this thing going. Let me talk about the next phase to this. Hold on just one second. Note to self, turn off the phone before I make another video. Anyway, so what we've done here is I've shown you, we've got the silo structure. Now we're adding additional authority to the site via curated content. Let me talk about another element that I want you to add, and that is reviews. So augment the curation with reviews. So maybe you do 2 curated posts per week, and then you throw in a review the following week. Then the next week you do 2 curated posts. The next week you add a review. Reviews should be about 1,000 to 1,500 words. Now, why do we want to throw in reviews? Because it allows us to do additional keyword targeting via brand jacking. These, something else that I'll mention, is the only places that you'll be getting links into on these sites is the silo structured pages and the reviews. I never link into the curated post until those start actually getting traction with Google. And maybe at some point in time I'll create a course around all this, maybe call it Syndicator 2.0 or something, I don't know. So now you can augment that. You can jack brands. So say we're doing Regal Assets or whatever, so we could do Regal Asset Review, Regal Asset Reviews, buy Regal Asset, what is Regal Asset, Regal Asset Scam. Any of these keywords are prime for inbound linking and brand jacking. So that's, now we have phase 1, which is the silo structure, phase 2, which is the curation, and phase 3 is the addition of, that's not a very good 3. Phase 3 is the addition of reviews to the site. So now we have our site infrastructure. Let's talk about, it's only taken me 10 minutes to get to this point, but let's talk about the big aha moment that I've recently had. Something that I actually stumbled upon, and the reason why I kind of sold you on this bonus. So, but I had to tell you how to set the sites up first. and the methodology behind that in order for this to make sense. So I have been using a service called Link Emperor for quite some time, and I'll show this to you in just a moment. Link Emperor is pretty much 100% automated list building. Lower quality for the most part, but they do have some decent stuff that goes on there. And then I usually augment that with a company called Linkit Pro and something called the Giza Pyramid. Well, the problem is the Giza Pyramid is $400 per run, so unless I know that that site is going to do something, or unless it already has some traction, I don't want to spend $400 on just testing out a market. So up to this point, I've just been using Link Emperor, setting up a small campaign, running it to the silos part of the site. As that picks up, I'll add the curation, I'll add the reviews, and then I'll add in the Giza Pyramid. And that's been working great. I haven't really talked about this much publicly because it just works and I've just been doing it. Not a big deal, and frankly, it's all outsourced. So it doesn't even come to the front of mind very often. But now, Linkit Pro came out with a new service, and let me just jump on over to that. Linkit Pro came out with a new service called, let's see, it's their High PR Links. Stage 1 precision targeting, gun to a knife, and Operation Overkill. So let's talk about this for a second because I have to give you a little bit of history as to why this is effective. For those that have been a part of my $1,000 a month masterminds, have known this secret for a long time, and I'm going to share this with you because it's past its day, if you will, in effectiveness, really until now. So I have been buying links for years. I've been using link brokers and targeting specific sites, not run of site links, but very specific pages within sites that had high PR and that were relevant to the content that I had on my site. So, okay, well, anybody that gets any latest and greatest SEO course, that's fine and all. I think that's discussed a lot of places. Most people will frown upon buying links, but the reality is if you bought a thematic link into a page that was relevant and that had proper linking structure on site, you would be absolutely fine. And I have been fine for years. So this leads me to, recently, I stopped using the brokers, but when Linkit Pro, the owners of Linkit Pro, contacted me and told me that they had this new offering and asked me to beta test it. So I said, what the heck? I just threw up a website, and I'm not going to reveal what that website is simply because if I do, I'll have several hundred copycats of that site pretty quick, thus limiting my income from that in most cases. But so I threw up a website, and I just created the silo structure. I went ahead and ran my Link Emperor campaign to it just as usual, and I'll show you that in just a moment and how I set that up as well. But then I went with the stage 1 precision targeting. $97. Well, it's about what I would pay a link broker for a good quality link, and I'm getting high PR links, 15 of them. The problem is I don't know where these 15 high PR links are from, nor chances are, maybe they are, but chances are they're not going to be thematic to my site content. So, I didn't really care about the site that I was testing this on, so I just threw it up there. Lo and behold, days later, I owned multiple #1 rankings for the second tier keywords on my site. Remember, in the silo structure of the site, we had our primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary links to secondary, secondary links to tertiary, and one of the tertiaries linked back to the primary. So I was linking directly to the secondary keywords and had multiple #1 rankings come through with just the addition of this. So I said, well, maybe this is an anomaly. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. So I set up a second site. Boom, exact same thing happened. Now mind you, each of these secondary keywords, one of the criteria that I have is I keep them over 1,000 searches per month in Google. The tertiary keywords can go and dip considerably below that, but that is my criteria for my secondary keywords, is that they have to have some search volume. So now I've proven it on a second site. Now I've proven it on a third site. Now I've built out 4th sites, 5th sites, and guess what? Every single time I'm using this $97 high PR package, it's just bumping these sites to levels that previously, took a bit longer to achieve. So, I'm excited about it. So a couple things that I have not tested. I have not tested their 60 high PR links. Much better value, obviously. 60 high PR links for $200. But my assumption, and this is just a guess at this point because further testing is needed on the more aggressive packages, is that 15 high PR links still keeps you under the radar, and as of yet, nothing's been penalized from any of my sites. So that's good news. I personally think unless the site has aged just a little bit or already has some rankings that you're just trying to bump up, I would stay away from the 60, and they even have a higher package right here, Stage 3 Operation Overkill. 150 PR links for 400 bucks. I would probably stay away from those two packages until a site has matured a little bit, has some rankings, and you're just trying to bump those rankings up. And quite frankly, I wouldn't even use the 150 high PR links unless I was going after something extraordinarily competitive. We're talking 10,000 plus searches per month, a lot of competition in the search, all in title and whatnot. So unless I was dealing with something highly competitive that I wasn't really able to get past, position 8 or 9 with just traditional link building methods, then I might go with Operation Overkill. But I won't use it up until that point. But new sites, by all means, the 15 high PR links is just fine. Now let's jump over to Link Emperor because it's one thing to tell you about what I'm doing. It's another thing to show you how I have my Link Emperor campaign set up. So one of the things that you have to realize when it comes to Link Emperor, unless you have it set up properly, it's going to be overkill because you'll send too many crap links directly to your site. So I am a huge fan of buffers. But what a buffer is that what Link Emperor does will create a series of sites that link to my site, just a few, and then they'll create a whole bunch of links to that set of buffer sites. So consider even this a 3-tier system. We have our first tier links, which link to second tier links, which then, or actually second tier links link to first tier links that then link to us. That's a better way to phrase that. So let me show you what you see in front of the screen right now is exactly how I have this set up. So feel free to copy the settings that you see right here. I'm not really going to break this down because you are looking at it, but this is exactly how I set my tier system up with them. A couple notes is every 30 days I will adjust this dramatically by simply moving this line right here much further to the right, and on brand new sites less than a month old, maybe I've already ordered that 15 PR package, I will crank this all the way to the right to do a pure link or a pure buffer network linking into my site without any secondary direct links coming into my site like you see that I have the settings right here. This is for a site that's matured for a couple months, so I am getting a little less or a little more aggressive, if you will, in the linking pattern. So guys, gals, whoever's watching this video, this is big time stuff right here. We're talking if you find an offer that converts that you would be willing to spend money on, by all means create the silo curation review site structure. You can have one review and it can be that product that you're promoting. You could have curated posts that simply augment the topic of that review, and then the silo simply targets the high and long tail or the medium and long tail keywords that are related to that review that then obviously push people to to ordering through that. So if you, like I said, if you have an offer that's converting, by all means, augment it with this strategy. If you are scared to spend money on an offer and you want to test out 5 or 6 offers first, this is probably a pretty decent way to test and then roll money into it. So there you have it. This is the strategy. I hope you enjoyed this video and are taking some notes. Watch it again if you're looking for any specifics on it, and I'll talk to you soon.